The motion today is this House would pay students to attend schools. We will begin with the Prime Minister speaker. You may begin when you are ready.
Hello, my fellow debaters and my most honorable adjudicator. My name is Sunny and I'm the Prime Minister speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard about this news? Students have fear of failing their work, so the students feel pressure. And Korea is one of the highest countries that parents put their children to go to a good university. So because of their parents, students study until midnight, and that makes the students' stress pile up. So some students commit suicide. So we think that we should give rewards to these hardworking students. This is why Team Proposition would like to propose the motion this House would pay students to attend school. Before I start my speech, I would like to define a few key words. Students at elementary school, 5th grade to high school, 3rd grade will get paid from the government. And we define the amount of money. Elementary school get paid 3,000 won.
A little bit slower.
Middle school will get 10,000 won. And high school will get 30,000 won. They will get paid twice a month. We on the proposition team will present 3 arguments. The first argument is students need rewards and break time. The second argument is it is unfair for the students. The third argument, which will be presented by the Deputy Prime Minister, is students getting stressed and having health problems. We will prove the case line that paying the students will change their whole life. We believe we should pay the students money because they need rewards and break time. Just like the adults earn money from working, students should get money because they did their best on studying. It's important to get a reward because it gives the students confidence and it makes them want to try more better. And they can use the money for the things they wanted or for a break. This will make them fresh. For example, there was a high school student who was preparing for the SAT test. So she tried her best and worked hard. But even though she got a good grade, no one rewarded her. So she started to not try her best because anyways, no one rewarded her. And that led her to a bad university. You can now see that the rewards are important for students. This is why we think we should pay the students as reward. We believe we should pay students also because it's also unfair. Adults get money for working, but the students don't. But some students work harder than the adults. But why do these students get paid? Students are the same as adults. If the adults get paid, the students need to get paid too. There was a boy whose father was a businessman. And one day, his father had a salary day and he earned money. When his father bragged about it, the boy thought that it was unfair because his father got money while he didn't. This is why we think we should pay the students because it is unfair. What we believe here, ladies and gentlemen, is that students need reward and break time, and it is unfair if they don't. Also, if not, students will get stressed and have health problems. This debate should be decided by which team could show that paying students, the students will change their whole life. The proposition team is proud to propose.
Write down 3 minutes and 30 seconds. No, you gotta sit down. You have 1 minute to prepare.
Yeah, think about this while we speak and write about it. Then kind of mental basis for the early and okay. Parents don't leave opposition. Okay, we should understand this with opposition. They just do the best.
Time. The Leader of Opposition Speaker. You may begin when you are ready.
Hello, my fellow debaters and my most beloved adjudicators. My name is Ino, and I'm the Leader of Opposition Speaker. I would like to begin my speech. The government is making the minimum wage higher every year. So the government is keep losing money, and they even need to pay money for 6.8 million students for attending. This will make the government very poor. And the satisfaction of their school is only 6.36 in scale of 1 to 10. Currently, the learning of Korea has hawons, the after school. Hawons are private academies, but almost every student has these hawons. Students have stress from having hawons. This affects their health. But if they pay schools to attend, then their parents will send school without vacations to earn money. And they have an SAT called Suneung, but the Suneung is very hard. So students prepare this test very hardly. Those students sometimes can't sleep to prepare for the Suneung. Currently, Team Opposition would like to oppose this health pay for attending school. Before I start my speech, I would like to define a few keywords. The keywords that we will define are paying students. It will be defined as the government paying the students will be schools that we don't need to pay. We on the opposition team will present 3 arguments. As first speaker, I'm going to expand the first and second argument. The second speaker will talk about the third argument. We will prove the case line that the government will get poor from paying 6.8 million students for attending. Before we present our arguments, I would like to address the points made by the Prime Minister Speaker. They stated that it is unfair for only adults having money, but the child doesn't. I rebut that because if the adults doesn't use all their money for themselves, they sometimes use money for their children, for buying food and also things that their child wants. Our first argument is if the government keep pays for students, then the government will get poor. Because the government doesn't have money forever, so it means that the government will run out of money. This is very important because if the government runs out of money, then everything that the government runs will disappear. Then everyone will be uncomfortable. For example, there was a family that had no money. They live with the money from attending students. But they are hardly paying their taxes because workers doesn't get lots of money. Then the government will have no money like this. So our home Korea will live hardly and only getting money from other countries. So many people will die because of hunger or diseases. And our second argument is parents will attend their children to earn money and they will never go on a vacation. Because of this, students will have a huge amount of stress. And this is important because if they have stress, then they need health care. But the government would not lend money like usual times because they are already paying the students for attending schools. For example, there was a family and the student went to school and brought money. So the mom always forced him to go to school. And even one day the student was sick, but the mom didn't care. She cared about the money. So she forced him to go to school. We believe here, ladies and gentlemen, is that the government will get poor if they pay 6.8 million students for attending school every day. This debate should be decided by which team can show that the government will get poor. We are proud to oppose.
So that was 4 minutes, right there. You have 1 minute, Deputy Speaker.
Review as a rebut. Oh my god. You should refute with how well you should rebut them. No, it doesn't matter. They get no money. No money.
Yeah, in the sense that the government, you know,
And it goes
they said the government, we're going to leave up
they refuse to send the government.
in the third area.
Time. The Deputy Prime Minister Speaker. You may begin when you are ready.
Hello, my fellow debaters and my most honorable educators. My name is Olivia and I am the Deputy Prime Minister Speaker. Before I begin, I would like to address the points made by the Leader of Opposition Speaker. They stated that the adults need more money because they need to give the students, their child, what they need and they have to buy them what they want. I rebut that because actually students need more money too because they need money to buy school supplies. Also, especially for kids who stay home alone, they need money to buy snacks to eat because they don't have someone to give them. Students need a lot of money too, and these are all useful things for them. They also stated that that some kids don't work hard, and it's also different everywhere. So I rebut that because it is right that the students' scores are different in every place. So the government can choose the amount of money which depends on how hard the students study in every place. They stated that if the government gives the students money every time, the government will lose money. But still, people give taxes to the government. So even though the government gives money to the students, it's kind of impossible that the government will lose money. Now I will present my third area. We believe we should pay the students because students will get stressed and have health problems if they study and don't have reward. According to the APA org, students have a hard time of studying and that gives them stress, and if the stress continues for a long time, it causes health problems such as a high blood pressure, heart disease, and anxiety, and more. Once there was a boy who studied hard, but his parents never let the boy rest. He studied without a break. So the boy started to have stress, and that made him have an illness the day before SAT test. So he had to have the test next year. He wasted time and money. As you can see, having no reward could lead to a big problem like this situation. So that is why we think that students should be paid. The proposition team is proud to propose.
We'll leave it right there then. 2 minutes and 46 seconds.
1 minute?
Yeah, 1 minute for the Leader of Opposition. 2 minutes 36 seconds, I think I said.
2 minutes 46 seconds. I'll read it. Just make it. Wait.
It's time for them, right? Then we should memo these too.
You memo it.
And also, everyone will pray. We said that it was free, but then it was free. So I wrote them.
I already memo these two.
That's free.
But we should. But this is finished. You don't need to write it. But yeah, we have to just memo this so I can do these two. I only want to.
So like you say that you should. So you need.
No, I just have to give it to
Third error. Where's the third error?
You just me and me.
Time. Deputy Prime Minister Speaker, or Deputy Leader of Opposition Speaker. I just want to say one thing real fast. You guys are doing a nice job. We don't want to say ARE, we want to say argument, okay? Not ARE. All right, ready? You may begin when you're ready.
Hello, my fellow debaters and my most honorable adjudicators. My name is Unho, and I am the Deputy Leader of Opposition Speaker. And now I would like to begin my speech. Before I begin, I would like to address the points made by the Deputy Prime Minister Speaker. They stated that the government has very much money, so they have very money, so it's impossible to run out of money. I rebut that because in Korea there are 6.8 million students in Korea. So even if they have lots of money, they could not defend 6.8 million students for attending. Before we present our arguments, I would like to address the points made by the Deputy Prime Minister Speaker. They stated that the citizens pay taxes to the government, so the government has infinite money, which means that they can't run out of money. But I refute that because if they pay taxes, the citizens will have no money, but the government will pay the students for attending schools, then the government will also run out of money. So that means everyone will have no money, so they will all be poor. Our third argument is that the government will destroy schools because they don't want to pay money for students attending. Because if the government shrinks schools, then they don't need to pay lots of money. This is very important because students may need to go far away to go to their school. And some students may need to not go to school which means that the children does not go to school and will have no friends and will not be ready for college because they aren't smart enough. For example, there was a family living in the countryside, and their children went to school that was right in front of their house. But one day, the government destroyed the school in front of their house. Now they need to go to their school in the city.
POI, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain about how can the whole citizen become ruined or become poor because the government doesn't have enough money?
Because you said that the government will have a bit of money because the citizens pay taxes, but also the citizens they only earn money, so they give the money to the government. Then the government will also spend their money on it for students for attending school. So if the government runs out of money, then the citizen runs out of money. The government will also run out of money also along. So everyone will have no money and will be poor. I would like to continue my speech, which is that the children does not go to school. For example, there was a family living in the countryside, and the children went to school that was right in front of their house. But one day, the government destroyed the school in front of their house. Now they need to go to their school at the city, and it was very far and takes a long time to go. So the family had to stop going to school. We are proud to oppose.
Oh, no, 2 minutes, 28 seconds.
Maybe. So, what are you going to do on the first
They didn't refute.
for my
I did. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Okay, what was their theory? What was their theory? What was their rebut? The areas government will destroy the school. Okay, that was refute. Okay. No, they refute. And you hear that? What was their refute?
Why are you asking us?
What was the refute?
Yes. So we first have to recruit and then rebut, and then for the list.
Okay, they get the
First,
whole
I will rebut. I didn't know
No, the book, whatever. That in some ways.
like 50%, 60%. And first, we can have
Once.
the book. We need to take
The library?
school classes.
Ah!
Okay, so
You have refuted for my
Yeah.
for my
Here.
wait, you don't have to show me, but what was the reason? Error 3? Error 3 reason? Tell me.
And they use supplies and snacks
for this school and then the tax school.
All right, time. Sorry. Well, we went over. I'm gonna begin when you're ready.
Hello, my fellow debaters and my most honorable adjudicators. Today, I would like to propose this house would like to pay kids to attend school. I would like to rebut their team opposition refute. Team opposition presented that if we pay kids to attend schools, the citizen will become poor. But all the books are coming from the government, and the citizens always pay taxes for the government, and the government always divides all for the other things. So if the citizens always pays taxes for the government will never become poor, and the citizens will also earn money from where they work, and there is no way that wherever you work will be gone. So we will always be able to pay taxes, and it does not make sense that the government will become poor. Because if the government becomes poor, this world or this city called Anyang or Korea will not be able to stand in this world. And I would like to refute their argument. So their argument was about paying is almost impossible for kids because there's a lot of 6.5 million kids in this Anyang citizen. So it will make the government all busy and it will make the world messy. But all students, we will give this to the government, so the government will choose it. We will make this sure the government makes it right, because every time the teacher gets the student's grade and they report to the principal, and so they will make sure no one gets too much and no one gets too little. And now I would like to pose my first clash. Today we will present to you two main areas of clash. The first clash we would like to cover is what the Prime Minister stated that kids need rewards. The Prime Minister said that kids need rewards so they can have spare break times so they won't feel too much pressure on study. And the leader of opposition refuted this and saying that all kids might not work hard and it could be dizzy. So I rebut that because we will leave this to the government, and all schools and places near the citizens are all different, so it could be different. So that's why everyone's knowledge is different right now in this class. So we will make sure they will choose the amount and it's all fair. The second clash that I would like to cover is what the deputy leader of opposition speaker stated that the students might use the money on weird things, or the government might not be as well as before, and the citizen might be all busy. So in the leader of Deputy Prime Minister's events, they might not all use the money on weird things, such as the government might not just waste all the money on them. The governments are not fools. They always divide the money that the citizens give as taxes, and they always divide it and use some on schools and some on other situations or other things that we need in our citizens. So the government will equally divide each other so they could not waste all the monies on students. And team proposition is proud to propose.
What did I say in the refute?
347.
What did I say in the refute? This is the one. You can say it's their refute. Say.
Paul, why is there DC?
Just don't talk. We need to talk right now. What did it say in the refute?
On the government.
That's the refute part. That's the refute. How much you say?
Our ideas did not match.
Oh, mixed. I'm getting mixed up. We're losing again. Yeah.
Time. Opposition with speaker. You may begin when you're ready.
Hello, my fellow debaters and my most honorable educators. My name is Andy, and I am the opposition whip speaker. Before I begin, I would like to address the points made by the government whip speaker. They stated that the money that the citizen pay and the government pay is equal. We rebut that because the government still will use money from the world, and the money will be even used for the students, but the money may not be used for the tax, and it may be used for like making like snacks or like buying supplies like they said. So yeah. Today I will cover two main areas of clash. The first clash I would like to cover is the leader of opposition speaker stated that the government will get poor, and this was refuted by the Deputy Prime Minister, who stated that the government will still get paid by the citizen. I rebut this clash because there are 6.8 million students in Korea, and this is a huge amount of people, and they said that they'll pay 3,000 won for elementary and 10,000 won for middle school and 30,000 for high school, and it's like, so there will be like 43,000 won for like, if we all plus it, then they'll be like very much money, but government will get poor even if the citizens pay the tax. And now I will cover the second clash. Is the leader of opposition speaker stated that the government would have more stress because the students will have more stress because their parents will send them to school with no vacation to earn money. And the Deputy Prime Minister Mr. Speaker refuted this by saying that the students will disappear their stress by buying things. I rebut that because parents may not give their child the money because they think their child doesn't have responsibility for using money.
POI, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
can you explain how the government divides the money in a basic way? Like,
So the government divides by use the money for, well, like you said, for the students, if it isn't, and for buying things from the world. Yeah. And then they'll use for things that we need to like fix or like using in our country, so making the advanced country. I will continue my speech. I rebut that for using money because they think that students will use money for things that they actually don't need. The opposition is proud to oppose.
4 minutes.